Have you ever wondered why some people seem to effortlessly achieve their goals while others struggle? The secret often lies not in grand, dramatic changes, but in the quiet power of small habits. Those tiny actions that, when repeated day after day, create the foundation for extraordinary transformation. Think about a single drop of water. On its own, it seems insignificant, but when it falls consistently, day after day, it can carve through solid rock, creating magnificent canyons that stretch for miles. Your habits are like those water drops. Each one may seem small and inconsequential, but their cumulative power is unstoppable. Let's talk about the mathematics of small habits. Improving just 1% each day might seem trivial, but compound that improvement over a year, and you'll end up 37 times better than when you started. This isn't just theory. It's the proven power of incremental growth. The same way money compounds in an investment account, habits compound in your life. Many people fail in their attempts at change because they try to do too much too soon. They want to transform their entire life overnight. But real, lasting change doesn't work that way. It's not about intensity. It's about consistency. It's not about running a marathon today. It's about walking just 5 minutes more than yesterday. Consider the humble bamboo tree. For the first 4 years after being planted, it shows almost no visible growth above ground. But during this time, it's developing an elaborate root system underground. Then, in the 5th year, it suddenly shoots up, growing up to 90 feet in just 6 weeks. Your habits work the same way. The results may not be visible at first, but beneath the surface, profound changes are taking place. Every major achievement in human history started with a single step. The Great Wall of China began with one stone. The most successful companies started with one sale. The greatest novels began with one word. Your journey to transformation begins with one small habit. But here's what most people don't understand about habits. They're not just about behavior, they're about identity. Every time you make your bed, you're not just tidying your room. You're reinforcing the identity of someone who is organized and disciplined. Every time you read one page, you're not just gaining knowledge, you're becoming a learner. Every time you exercise for just 5 minutes, you're not just burning calories, you're becoming an athlete. The beauty of small habits lies in their accessibility. Anyone can read one page. Anyone can do one push-up. Anyone can write one sentence. And once you've started, once you've taken that first tiny step, continuing becomes infinitely easier. This is what we call reducing friction, making the habit so small that you remove all excuses not to do it. Think about brushing your teeth. You probably don't struggle with motivation to do it. You don't need willpower. You don't have to psyche yourself up. It's just something you do automatically without thinking. That's the power of a well-established habit. And every habit you want to build can eventually become just as automatic. But here's the crucial thing about habits. They work both ways. Just as positive habits can compound to create amazing results, negative habits compound too. Missing your morning workout once might not seem like a big deal. But if that becomes a pattern, if you consistently choose comfort over growth, those small decisions compound into major setbacks. The good news is that you get to choose your habits. You get to decide what small actions you'll repeat each day. And those choices will ultimately determine the person you become. Because here's the truth. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Your habits are those systems. Let's talk about implementation. The key to building lasting habits is to make them obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying. Want to read more? Place a book on your pillow every morning. Want to exercise? Put your workout clothes next to your bed. Want to eat healthier? Make nutritious foods easily visible and accessible in your kitchen. Your environment shapes your behavior more than you might realize. If you want to change your habits, start by changing your environment. Make good habits obvious and easy. Make bad habits invisible and difficult. Your willpower is limited. Use it to set up systems that make good choices easier, not to fight against your environment every day. Remember that progress isn't always linear. There will be days when you slip up, when you fall back into old patterns. That's not failure, it's feedback. Use those moments to understand your triggers, to refine your approach, to make your good habits even more automatic and your bad habits even more difficult. The power of habits lies in their compounding nature. Each time you perform a habit, you're casting a vote for the type of person you want to become. Each small action is a brick in the foundation of your future self. Over time, these votes, these bricks, these tiny actions build up to create something remarkable, a new you. Think about who you want to become. What small habits could help you move toward that identity? What tiny action could you take today, and then repeat tomorrow and the next day that would lead you closer to your goals? Remember, you don't need to revolutionize your life all at once. You just need to take that first small step and then another and another. Your future is being shaped right now in this moment by the small choices you make. Each habit is like a seed. Plant the right ones, nurture them consistently, and over time, they will grow into a garden of success that others will look at and call an overnight achievement. The time will pass anyway. In a year from now, you will certainly be someone. The question is, who will you be? Will you be the same person you are today? Or will you be the person shaped by the positive habits you begin right now? Start small. Stay consistent. Trust the process. The power to transform your life lies not in the intensity of your actions, but in the consistency of your small habits. Each tiny step, each small choice, each minor improvement, they all add up to major changes over time. Your life, your future, your potential, they're all built one small habit at a time. Choose wisely. Start now. Stay consistent. Let me share with you some remarkable examples of how small habits have created extraordinary results. Consider the story of John Grisham, the best-selling author. While working as a busy lawyer, he developed the habit of writing just one page every day before going to work. That single page, that small habit, eventually led to his first novel, A Time to Kill, and launched his career as one of the world's most successful authors. Or take the story of Sir Dave Brailsford, who took over as the performance director of British Cycling in 2003. He implemented what he called a strategy of marginal gains, looking for 1% improvements in everything they did. From testing different fabrics in the wind tunnel to teaching cyclists the best way to wash their hands to avoid catching colds. These tiny improvements added up to help British cyclists win 60% of all gold medals available at the 2008 Beijing Olympics. Think about successful companies like Google and Apple. They didn't start by trying to revolutionize technology overnight. They started with small, consistent improvements. Google began by making search just a little bit better each day. Apple started in a garage, focusing on making one computer component slightly better than what was available. But let's bring this closer to home. Let's talk about practical ways you can harness the power of small habits in your own life. Morning routine. Start with making your bed. Takes 2 minutes. Drink a glass of water. Takes 30 seconds. Write down 3 things you're grateful for. Takes 1 minute. Do 1 push-up or stretch for 30 seconds. Work habits. Begin with the smallest possible task. Work in 25-minute focus blocks. Take a 2-minute walk every hour. Read 1 paragraph of a professional development book. Health habits. Eat 1 extra vegetable per day. Go to bed 5 minutes earlier. Take the stairs instead of the elevator. Drink water before each meal. The key is to make these habits so small that they feel almost ridiculous. Want to start meditating? Begin with just 1 breath. Want to start running? Put on your running shoes and step outside, that's it. Want to start saving money? Save just $1 a day. Remember the principle of habit stacking, attaching your new habit to an existing one. After I pour my morning coffee, I will write 1 sentence. After I finish lunch, I will take a 2-minute walk. After I brush my teeth, I will do 1 stretch. After I get into bed, I will read 1 page. Your brain loves routine and patterns. By linking new habits to existing ones, you make them much more likely to stick. And once these small habits become automatic, you can gradually expand them. But what about breaking bad habits? The same principle applies in reverse. Make it invisible. Remove triggers from your environment. Make it difficult. Create obstacles. Make it unattractive. Associate it with negative thoughts. Make it unsatisfying. Add immediate consequences. The true power of habits lies not just in the actions themselves, but in what they teach us about ourselves. Each small victory builds confidence. Each consistent practice strengthens willpower. Each tiny improvement proves that change is possible. You see, success isn't about making radical changes or taking massive action. It's about showing up every day, doing the small things right, and trusting that these tiny improvements will compound over time. Your life is essentially the sum of your habits. How in shape you are is a result of your habits. How happy you are is a result of your habits. How successful you are is a result of your habits. What you repeatedly do ultimately forms the person you become. So start today. Pick one tiny habit, something so small it seems almost meaningless. Commit to it for the next week. Then watch as this small commitment begins to create ripples of positive change throughout your life. Remember, small actions repeated consistently create big changes. Identity-based habits last longer than goal-based ones. Your environment shapes your behavior. Progress isn't linear, but it is inevitable if you stay consistent. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Your journey to an extraordinary life begins with a single habit. Make it small. Make it easy. Make it consistent. Start now. Start small. Keep going. Let's delve into the fascinating science behind habit formation. Research shows that our brains are constantly looking for ways to save energy. This is why habits are so powerful. They allow our brains to automate routine behaviors, freeing up mental resources for more important decisions. Scientists have discovered that habits form through a three-step loop: cue, routine, and reward. The cue triggers your brain to initiate a behavior, the routine is the behavior itself, and the reward is what tells your brain whether this loop is worth remembering for the future. This is why habits can be so hard to break. They're literally wired into our neural pathways. But here's the good news. Understanding this loop gives us the power to change it. By identifying our cues and rewards, we can modify the routine while keeping the same triggers and satisfactions. Think about the habit of checking your phone first thing in the morning. Cue: waking up. Routine: reaching for your phone. Reward: the dopamine hit from social media. What if you kept the same cue, waking up, and sought a similar reward, feeling connected and informed, but changed the routine to reading a book or journaling? This is how we can rewire our habits while working with our brain's natural tendencies. The science of neuroplasticity tells us that our brains continue to form new neural pathways throughout our lives. Every time you perform a new habit, you're literally creating new neural connections. The more you repeat the habit, the stronger these connections become, until the behavior becomes automatic. Consider these fascinating findings about habits. It takes an average of 66 days to form a new habit, not the commonly cited 21 days. People with strong self-control actually spend less time resisting temptations. Willpower is like a muscle. It gets fatigued with use but can be strengthened over time. Our willpower is typically strongest in the morning and decreases throughout the day. This is why timing matters. The best time to start a new habit is usually in the morning, when your willpower reserves are at their peak. It's also why it's crucial to remove temptations from your environment rather than relying on constant self-control. Let's talk about the psychology of momentum. When you complete a small habit, your brain releases dopamine, a feel-good chemical that motivates you to repeat the behavior. This is why starting extremely small is so important. Those tiny wins create a positive feedback loop that fuels further action. The concept of minimum viable effort is crucial here. Instead of setting ambitious targets, aim for the smallest possible action that moves you in the right direction. Want to write a book? Write 50 words a day. Want to get fit? Do one push-up. Want to meditate? Take one mindful breath. Want to learn a language? Learn one new word. These targets might seem ridiculously small, but that's exactly the point. They're so easy that you have no excuse not to do them. And once you start, the principle of behavioral momentum often kicks in, leading you to do more than your minimum. Think about habits like compound interest for your life. Just as money multiplies through compound interest, the effects of your habits multiply as you repeat them. A small change in your daily habits can result in a dramatic change in your trajectory over time. The most powerful way to change your life is through the compounding effect of hundreds of small decisions. Doing 2 push-ups instead of 1, waking up 5 minutes earlier, reading 1 extra page, saving $1 extra, eating 1 extra vegetable. Your habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. The same way money multiplies through compound interest, the effects of your habits multiply as you repeat them. But unlike money, which you can lose in a market crash, the progress you make through habits is permanent. Once you understand a concept or master a skill, it's yours forever. Remember this: excellence is not about radical transformation. It's about doing small things consistently over long periods. It's about showing up every day, making tiny improvements, and trusting the process. Let today be the day you plant the seeds of your future success through small, consistent habits. Because in the end, it's not the grand gestures that define our lives. It's the small actions we take every single day, the tiny habits that shape who we become. Your future self is being created by the habits you choose today. Choose wisely, start small, stay consistent, and watch as these microscopic changes compound into remarkable transformations. As we come to the end of our journey together, I want you to understand something profound. This moment right now is not just another moment in your life. It is the moment where everything can change. It is the moment where you decide who you will become. Think about this: a year from now you will arrive. The question is not whether time will pass, it will. The question is, who will you be when you get there? Will you be the same person you are today? Or will you be the person shaped by the small, consistent actions you begin right now? Every great achievement in history started with a single moment of decision, followed by small, consistent actions. The Wright brothers didn't create flight in a day. They made tiny adjustments day after day. Mozart didn't become a master overnight. He practiced small pieces, consistently, from childhood. Every masterpiece, every breakthrough, every transformation began with someone deciding, today is the day I begin. Today can be that day for you. Don't wait for the perfect moment, it doesn't exist. Don't wait until you feel ready, you never will be. Don't wait for permission, you don't need it. Don't wait for motivation, let action create it. Start so small that failure is impossible. Start so small that resistance melts away. Start so small that consistency becomes inevitable. Start so small that success becomes guaranteed. Because here's the truth: the power to transform your life is already within you. It's not in some magical morning routine, not in some secret productivity hack, not in some revolutionary new method. It's in the small decisions you make every single day. Every time you choose a small positive action, you're casting a vote for the person you want to become. Every time you follow through on a tiny habit, you're building the foundation of your future self. Every time you show up, even when you don't feel like it, you're proving that you are in control of your destiny. Remember, mountains are moved one stone at a time. Oceans are filled one drop at a time. Lives are transformed one habit at a time. Your journey begins now, not tomorrow, not next Monday, not next year. Now, pick one small habit. Make it tiny, make it easy, make it now. And let this be the moment you look back on, months or years from now, as the moment everything began to change. The moment you took control of your destiny. The moment you began to transform your life one small habit at a time. The power is in your hands. The time is now. The method is small habits. The result will be extraordinary. Start small. Start now. Never stop. Your future self is watching, waiting, hoping you'll begin. Make them proud.